Out of all the top tiers that I personally think are hot topics in the multiverse community, you will consistently find Arya Stark and Jake both in that conversation. However, today's video is only about one, and that's going to be Jake the dog. Alien, whatever he is, Jake. So, Jake has found a lot of success in multiverses. Funny enough, he was always this good. Really, he was good for a very long time, and it kind of slipped under our radar, like hard. I mean, I've talked about this before, but I do remember during Evo weekend when we all got back home after, Jake was just dominant in the singles ladder. And then, of course, the character picked up a lot of steam. People started to finally realize, wait a minute, all right, there's something up with this character. Then, of course, you have players like J Mafia and Falze and others who have come to, I want to say, the top of the pack with said character, and the character gain is pretty much gaining a lot more steam ever since then. You usually find Jake in the top finishes of both doubles and singles, and the character succeeds in both formats pretty well. But what about Jake makes him so damn difficult to fight? Well, first and foremost, when you think about it, Jake is pretty damn safe. Not only because he's small, but because his moves kind of skew the risk-reward factor of just how, I want to say, safe they are. A lot of the time, most people still struggle dealing with his down special too, of all moves. Of course, skateboard, multi-hit, and of course it kills too. I mean, it will kill you if you get hit by it at later percents while you're on stage, as well as it's a good edge guarding tool as well. Jake is well equipped to fight you up close, and of course, to fight you from afar with the ability for some of his moves to stretch, while his down special also is a counter to projectiles. And don't get me started on his ability to stretch, not only to get out of disadvantage, but to also extend into vertical combos, killing you off the top. There is a reason why he is such a well-rounded character in the meta and why he's a popular pick amongst top players. But what if I told you, and call me crazy, what if I told you I'm sorta okay with it? Now, let me pause and say, I do think he deserves to be nerfed. I do think that balance changes should come to that character, and in fact, as you saw in the last patch, there are measures being taken to ensure that the character is reduced, but I don't want Jake to be butchered. I don't want any character to be butchered to the point where he's unplayable. And this is where opinions go around everywhere, because my definition of butchered might be different from yours, or of course my definition of broken might be different from yours as well. Because I do think that there has been players that have been trying to develop counterplay against Jake how he currently is, and of course, seeing as that he's still wildly successful, it's not that simple at all. He's a really good character that deserves toning down, but I do think that we shouldn't take away from the success of current day Jake players, because if you undermine their skill and the effort they went into putting him in the forefront the way they did, then at the end of the day, you're pretty much chalking up their successes to being reliant on said character. And I don't think that's fair a lot of the times, because there's an argument that used to be said back in the Brawl days regarding Diddy Kong, where there was a famous Diddy Kong player named ADHD. He was the best single-handedly Diddy Kong player, period. Pretty much gave that character the spotlight. Like, no one did it like him. And some people used to say, well, he wouldn't win if he wasn't playing Diddy Kong. But it's like, no, duh. He wouldn't win using his main, the character that he put all that time into, okay? An argument trying to say that they're carried, you know? That's always a popular thing. If X character is winning, that player base is carried, yada yada, undervalue the player's skill, or the talents that made you realize that character was good in the first place. And that's not something that we should do. Granted, in other games, there have been characters that will definitely boost your skill, and it's up to you as a player to pretty much block that noise out, or if your character gets nerfed, show that you can compete on another character, right? But at the end of the day, I do think that the current Jake players are actually good at the game, the ones that are performing, right? So I think that there needs to strike a balance, right? Because I'm sure they probably know that the character is busted as hell. They're playing that character because they're setting themselves up for the best possible scenario to win. Maybe they like Adventure Time, who knows? But I don't fault them for playing the character, especially the way they do, given the tools he has, because I think that they're pretty much playing him optimally. And so we all have the same option. If you know something's really strong, just play it, right? If you think it's strong enough to the point where you should invest time into playing it and you think there's no counterplay, what's stopping you from playing it? Now, I know what you're thinking. He doesn't fit my play style. I don't want to play him. And that's entirely your choice. But at the end of the day, it is your choice. But ultimately, I do agree with the community that Jake should definitely get nerfed. Not hard nerfed, not omega nerfed, but just level out the playing field and bring him up to par with other characters. And that's not to say that Jake is the only character that needs to receive this treatment. There are other characters that are really strong that could be toned down a bit if their definition of strong is unhealthy for the game. But the thing is that out of all the competitive games I've played, all of them, I genuinely think Multiverses in terms of balance is fine. Compared to all the other games that I've played competitively, I think that a lot more players should invest a lot more time in developing counterplay and, of course, improving at the matchups in the game instead of just chalking it up immediately to a character balance issue. There are still conversations regarding Shaggy. I don't know about that one, man. I think Shaggy is fine. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you think Jake should be nerfed? If so, how would you nerf him? Do you think he's fine? Do you think we need to give more credit to the Jake players for doing their thing and actually performing on the character? And are you going to pick up Jake and show why he's pick up and play easy to play in your opinion? Thank you for watching. Take it easy. Peace out. Deuces.